Hey guys! Last time I was down on the allotment, I cleared out a lot of weeds after rainy season. I got rid of my snapdragon because they had started to die back already, and I needed to make room for putting in some late season blooms and to start getting ready with autumn planting and thinking about where everything's going to go in spring. So I have my new garden plan all ready for next year, and it's time to get more seeds in the ground. For anyone that doesn't know, my name is Peggy and I am in my second year of growing a cut flower garden here on my allotment in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan, which is just south of Tokyo in USDA Zone 9B. Thanks for checking out my channel. Okay, so we are still pretty early on a Sunday morning. I can't see, but it is really hot already. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut these flowers that need harvested already before they get any hotter. I'll get them in water and get them in the shade. Here's our box for today. I have a few different types of dahlia, zinnia, my hibiscus flower, some verbascum, some cosmos, echinacea. I've got some Chinese forget-me-not in there somewhere, and some statice. That's what's coming home today. But I need to get it in the shade because it's hot. I'm also going to hide in the shade at the back of the garden. Ooh, it's hot. Okay, so today, for the first time in the garden, I'm doing something which I've never done before. So far, everything that I have put into this garden, both last season and this season, has been stuff that I have grown from seed. And there was a few reasons for that. One, it's easier for me to get nicer seed. There are more varieties available if I'm willing to order them online and then start them from seed myself, as opposed to what is available at any of the home centres or garden centres around me. Secondly, what is available in the garden centres, which I've mentioned before, tends to be dwarf varieties of things. A lot of people here don't have large gardens, so they're growing in pots and they're growing on a smaller scale. So a lot of the things available for me are actually dwarf varieties of things, which are absolutely no good for cutting. But if you've been following along, you'll know that I had a real problem starting some of my seeds this year, specifically Rudbeckia. I tried and tried and tried to get my Rudbeckia started from seed, and I just couldn't do it. It wouldn't germinate, it kept wetting off. I've got a whole video about it. If you go back and look through my other videos, you'll see I just couldn't get it to start. Spoiler alert for those videos, now you know, it doesn't work, can't get it to work. But when I went to the garden centre yesterday, I noticed that they had this, which is the Sahara, I mean, I'm showing you this, it's in Japanese, but it's the Sahara caramel mix, which is the exact one that I tried to grow. And they did have a mix of the colours, so they had these, they had the kind of darker red ones, and then some kind of bright yellow ones, some more orangey ones, and one in the middle. So I decided to go ahead and buy these, because although I couldn't get them started, and they're quite far along, you know, usually if you're going to buy plugs, you buy them when they're this big, but when I saw these, I thought, well, you know, they've got long stems on them already, so for Rudbeckia is, this one especially, caramel, doesn't actually grow that high. I'm gonna use these stems now to see if I like them. You know, it was such a hassle to try and get them started that I don't want to do the same next year and then decide that I don't actually like the flowers. But I've thought if I buy them now, I can use the stems this year, I can be drying some of them, I can be seeing if I like them enough to try again for next year, although I have also bought seed for next year as well because I'm desperate to get these going. But also these are a perennial, so although they're this size, this time when I put them in my garden, they will come back for me every year, which is great. I think they are a short-lived perennial, which means they don't last for very long. It's not something that's going to come back for you for 20 years, so you do have to kind of reseed every year to fill in any gaps of ones that didn't survive the winter. But I'm in zone 9B, really mild winters, so I'm hoping that these are going to perennialize quite nicely, and it means that although I want more next year, I will at least have some in the ground for next year. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in. The other thing I've bought is this. Now I only have two. These are Chrysanthemum. Now, you know, you kind of think I should have bought been growing chrysanthemum before. I'm actually standing next to my neighbour's plot, and this is her chrysanthemum that is coming on. Again, it's a perennial, so although there's only one stem in each of these, if I put these in, they will come back again next year and get bushier and bushier every year for me. Now these are 2 white ones that I got. You can see those. And I got them on sale because they are about to bloom. This one is August and this one's September. It should be blooming. And you'd think, you know, living in Japan, I would have grown this before. It's traditionally a Japanese flower. It's been, well, it's a Chinese flower that was imported in like the 5th century or something. But you know, it's really important to Japan. The emperor sits on the chrysanthemum throne. It is the symbol of Japan. You see gold chrysanthemums on the top of temples everywhere. So the reason I haven't grown it is because most of the ones that you grow are like my neighbour's ones here, which are the smaller chrysanthemum, and I hate the smell. I really dislike them. I think they smell really, really strongly of cat pee. So I didn't want any in my garden because I'm growing this for cut flowers, and who wants their house to smell like cat pee, really? But I've seen more and more florists are now using the bigger chrysanthemum, the kind of bushier ones, the fancier ones that kind of look like fireworks and things, and I thought they are absolutely beautiful. They come up kind of, these ones are early flowering, but I've got another orange one that I've ordered, I've bought from someone online, and it should be coming next week. That is October to December flowering one. They will go right through to December, especially where I am in 9B, and I'm hoping that those ones won't smell as bad. I mean, I'm seeing florists use them in wedding bouquets and really big fancy arrangements, and you think surely they can't be sending those off to people if they're really, really smelly. So if you've been growing the bigger fancier chrysanthemum, please tell me if they smell before I put them in my garden. But I thought I would try these ones anyway and just see if I like them before I try growing more and more of the fancier ones from seed. The other thing is, here's a cultural difference. Although these are a Japanese flower, lots of people grow them in Japan. They have competitions, they have quite often in temples in the autumn time you can go and they've got big displays of chrysanthemum and they're having competitions with them and they're huge, but they don't grow them for cut flower the way that we do. They grow them like this, where they disbud all up the side and they grow one massive flower, and it's the kind of prize pumpkin, if you like, who's got the biggest, heaviest flower, and they have supports to hold the flower head up because they're so big and heavy, and that's what they grow. And so to find other varieties is quite hard. And I did find one variety that I really liked. It was one of the big kind of apricot colours, a big bushy one. And I was trying to find out where I could buy it, and it turns out that they sold it in one city, which was about a 3-hour drive south from us, and they sold it on one day for 2 hours. And when you bought the plant, they gave you a little mini course in how to grow the one huge big flower on top. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of effort to go to for one flower. But so to find the cutting varieties that I'm seeing on the likes of Floret or, you know, those bigger places over in the States or in Europe is really, really hard. They don't really have them because they're growing them for a completely different purpose. So I got these. I bought one from someone online, which should be a bigger, bushier one. And again, I'm not expecting much from these this year, but hopefully they'll bush up the same way as this one has, and I'll get a nice cutting from them next year. So I'm going to put these in the garden now. Okay, so now that I've actually got these Rudbeckia in, I'm going to go ahead and cut off all the flowers on them and give them a really good water. They were quite root bound, so I hope they're going to survive, but I'll give them a nice good soak and I'll get these flowers off because they've gone past how they really should be, and it'll promote new flowers to come up, hopefully. The colours are so pretty, look at them. We're not just going to pretend that I grew these, okay? Okay, new plants are in, so now I am going to go ahead and reseed some things that I've already put in, but a few of them haven't worked. So first is my amaranth, and this is Love Lies Bleeding, coral fountains, and my Chinese lantern. I've put these in a couple of times now, and they just don't seem to be coming up very well. Only 2 of my amaranth have come out, and as far as I can see, 1 possibly of my Chinese lantern has come up. So I'm going to put some more of these in the ground and just hope that I get something. So now I've got reseeded stuff. I'm actually going to put in some new seeds as well. I've just pulled out all of my snapdragon, and where I planted my scabious, none of it actually came up. My nigella came up, but my scabious didn't. So I kind of got a few gaps in the garden. I don't get my first frost here in zone 9B until kind of beginning of December. I have a really long growing season, so I can still be putting stuff in the ground. And I had some seeds of filler stuff that I wanted to try out and see if I could get it to work here, because I never have enough filler. So the first one I've got is some dill, which makes nice leaves and then goes on to make kind of nice yellow flower heads. So I've got some dill, I've got some borage, which looks nice with the purple flowers on, or you can pull the flowers off and it actually looks really pretty as a kind of weird spiky seed head looking thing. And the flowers are quite nice to eat. They taste like cucumber if you put them in a salad. It's nice. And then I have some clary sage. Now these should have all been in the ground a long time ago, but I'm hoping because I have the longer growing season I can still get these started. So I'm going to go and put these in where my snapdragon used to be and where my scabious did not come up. Borage seeds are really big. I didn't think they'd be that big. Okay, now I've got all of my filler in. I want to have some stuff that's going to last me right through to December here, and for that I have these little mini cabbage things, ornamental cabbage. Now I saw these for sale everywhere last year and I actually bought a little bunch and they lasted for a really long time, and it was just cute having some colour in the house. So I have some kind of white ones and some nice deep purple ones. So I'm going to get these in the ground and hope that this will give me stuff right through till December. My last garden for today is to just fill up some of the other gaps in the garden. Some of my cosmos haven't come through, so I'm going to replant some more cupcake cosmos because I really like these ones. These are my favourite ones, so I want to put more of them in. I've got a space where my bunny tail has died back and I'm going to put in another one of, what is this? Verbena. One of my big white zinnia. And then I have a couple of my queen lime. I think these are the red ones, orange. Haven't come up either, so I'm hoping these are going to come up because they're my last couple of seeds in this one. So I'm just going to go through and try and fill up some of the gaps. So the last thing I need to do today is to feed my garden. Now I have been giving my garden seaweed, not as often as I would like. I have a video on making that seaweed food in one of my other videos if you want to check that out. I haven't been getting down to the beach as much as I'd like, so I haven't done that very often, and although I have my kind of compost tea stuff here, yeah, I'm having a couple of issues with that, so I've not been able to use that as much as I would like either, and I really want to make sure that my flowers are getting a good feed on them. Now I see that when I'm looking at the people that I follow, they're feeding their flowers things like Neptune's Harvest, which is a nice natural fish-based flower fertilizer, and I just can't find that here. I can't find anything like that here. It's all very chemical heavy, and I've had real issue trying to find anything natural at all, but I have managed to find this, which I found yesterday when in the same place I bought the chrysanthemum actually, and this is 70% fish meal and 30% bone meal. It's not a liquid food, which is what I would really like. It is just a kind of take handfuls and scatter it on your soil around your plants. But it's better than nothing, so I'm going to give this a try and see if it's going to give my flowers a little bit of a boost. I will keep looking for a kind of more liquid fertilizer just because it's easier for me to get it on the garden, and I am going to try and fight with my compost tea and try and get that working a bit better for me. But for now, this is what I'm going to put on the garden, so I'm just going to scatter it over the garden and then give everything a good water. that is me all done for today, hiding in the shade still. So I have my Rudbeckia and my Chrysanthemum in. I have planted some more filler in my borage and my dill and my sage, and I've got my ornamental cabbage in for winter time and some food on the garden. So hopefully this will ensure that I get, even though now is kind of the middle of the season when you expect to get the most flowers, I've actually found that because of where I am and because not very many things like this heat, that I actually get better flowers in spring and then in autumn. So it's good that I get the chance to spend some time planning the garden and making sure that I have enough flowers to get me right through till hopefully December. But thank you for following along. If you want to see how the garden progresses and what we end up with all through the season, then remember to hit the subscribe button below. If you want to see what I do with the flowers that I cut, you can check out my Instagram page, which is From the Witch's Garden, and there's a link to that below this video. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.